What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 85 of the Charge to the Top, here with Hereford FC, and today we are going to be taking on Chelsea here in the Premier League, of course. Last episode was the start of this season. If you did miss it, go check it out. Go see the transfers we made. There was a lot of business done, and while that business has proven to be, I think, fairly good so far. If we look at the form here, of course, we did get that win against Newcastle United last episode, of course, a side who are in Europe this year due to their league position last year, so they are a good team. And, well, following on from that, a little bit of a mixed bag of results. I feel like the 3 defeats on the bounce at the bottom here perhaps looks a little bit worse than in reality it actually is. You know, rotating the team a little bit, taking on both Manchester United and Liverpool, tricky games. But all in all, you know, 6 games played in the season in the league, 4 wins, really can't complain with it. Anyway, the first result we had a 4-3 win against Derby, a game that should have been dead and buried a long time before it was. We were 4-1 up in this game. We then conceded 2 goals in the second half and it was squeaky bum time towards the end. But we did hold on, and well, it was Jonathan Chan, the star of the show, the Mexican man himself, the maestro in the centre attacking mid position, fantastic player. And yeah, he got a hat-trick from midfield in this game, just was the difference maker. He was absolutely sublime. And yeah, in the end, we ran out victors in that game. Anyway, the next game we had against West Ham, a 3-2 win, another good little result. This time, Choi Min-ki, an 89th minute goal, the difference maker. This guy, the South Korean, he's not actually played all that many games for us this year. I have reverted back to the wider system. And while with Min-ki playing out on the right-hand side, he's been great. You can see 2 goals, 2 assists. And well, he was definitely the difference maker in this game against West Ham. You can see 2 goals and an assist to his name. Involved in all 3 of our goals. And in the end, the 3-2 win, good enough to get all 3 points. The next game we had against Colchester, we won in the EFL Cup 4-1, fairly standard there. In the next game, away from home against Bournemouth, a 3-0 win. A good little result, really. We were helped, certainly, by Zeka being sent off for Bournemouth in the 50th minute. The Brazilian here, he lost his head, he lost his cool. And, well, you'd have to say we benefited from that. You can see Kasongo, he got off the mark for Hereford, which is great to see. The Democratic Republic of Congo player, you know, playing out on the left wing for us. He's not been great in front of goal in terms of scoring, and well, it was just nice for him to, I guess, get the ball rolling on his Hereford total, albeit from the penalty spot. And well, the other player to be involved, Cilia, of course, the player Cilia, who we signed at the start of the year, big kind of expectations, I guess, on his shoulders, really. You know, a player who has had terrific goal-scoring performances over the last few years in Belgium playing for Standard Liège. He's joined us, and well, you can see here, 5 goals in 6 games. He has come in to score goals, and that's exactly what he's done. And well, 2 goals for him here helped us run out 3-0 victors against Bournemouth. Anyway, the next of these games we had against Manchester United, you can see here we lost 1-0. It was a fairly close game. You can see De Gea taken off at half-time. It finished 1-0. They definitely could have won by significantly more, but we defended fairly well in this match. And I feel like that's all you can really ask for. And, well, 1-0, it's not a bad result at all, because United are, of course, a very, very good side. The next game we had against Liverpool, away from home, you know, playing at Anfield again, never going to be easy, this kind of match. In the end, it finished 3-2, all the goals actually coming in the first half. We went in 3-2 down. I tried to mix some things up. It didn't really work for us, but again, we were very, very competitive in this match, and whilst that perhaps isn't much of a silver lining, that's all I can really ask for in these kind of games. In the most recent game we played in the EFL Cup against Bournemouth, I completely rotated the side. I'll be completely honest, the EFL Cup, not something on the top of my priority list for this season. In the end, we lost 2-0, but of course we did beat Bournemouth in the game that mattered in this run of games, 3-0. Anyway, looking at the league table here, you can see we are in 5th. Chelsea, who we take on, are in 7th today. They've not had the greatest start to the season, it'd have to be said. That said, they've not had the easiest matches by any means, but you can see they have drawn against the likes of West Brom and Brighton, so they're definitely not impenetrable. But in recent times, you can see they beat Watford 5-0 and Manchester City 3-2. So, well, I think it'd be fair to say this game isn't going to be all that easy for us. Anyway, looking at our team here, this is the squad we're going to go with. As I mentioned, the team was completely rotated for the EFL Cup, which was great for us. Means that our players kind of come into this game with full fitness. And hopefully, you know, at home here against Chelsea, we can get a good result. We've not had the greatest little run of form, obviously, with the 3 defeats in a row. A bit disappointing, I guess, to lose to both Manchester United and Liverpool, but an opportunity here against Chelsea to get a win that would really put us on the kind of board, I guess. You can see here, West Ham, who we beat 3-2, they're up in 4th. They've had a good start to the season. Liverpool in 9th, Manchester United top of the table and unbeaten in 7. So the teams that we've kind of slipped up against, there's no real shame in that. And of course, the win against West Ham, a very, very good result. And well, hopefully we can get another good result here. Anyway, in goal for today's game, we're going to go with Will Mannion, the English goalkeeper, obviously fantastic player. Lots of interest in this guy. Chelsea came in with a £10 million bid. I rejected it. I really like the look of this guy as a goalkeeper. I want to keep hold of him for the foreseeable future. And unless a really, really good kind of bid comes in, he's going to be here for the foreseeable future. Anyway, the next player we have, Andy O'Neill, had a good time and good start to his time at the club. Not been an outstanding performer, the Irish international, but a very, very good fullback, a player continuing to improve, which is great to see. Of course, alongside him, we've got Miguel Morales, the Mexican, a big step up for this guy over this last year. Left Cruz Azul, which is, of course, the club actually that Jonathan Chan played for as well before we signed him on a free transfer. But Morales here, 20 years old, a really hot talent. And you can see he's joined us and he's played fairly well, a 7.1 average rating. Not too bad at all for a player only 20 years old. Murray Wood, another player who's had a fairly good start to his time at the club. Of course, a player on loan from Manchester City. A player who was signed for Manchester City for £20 million. Didn't make an appearance for them last year. This year, playing for us, I think he's going to be a great little player for us. I'm really excited to see how he gets on. With us in the kind of next few months, I guess. I think he could be a great player, and certainly a player who, if the opportunity arose to sign him on a long-term contract, I'd probably have to consider it. Anyway, left back, we're going to stick it out with Mustafa Diatta. This guy picked up the Young Player of the Month for August, which is a great achievement. It'd be fair to say that over the last month, he's not been quite so good, the player. But of course, a young left back, explosive kind of physicals, great pace, great acceleration, balance is terrific. And if he can just improve that technical side of his game, just a player who I think could be a really good kind of long-term option, I guess, in the fullback position for us in the coming years. Anyway, the players we have in the midfield, Mustafa Hamdi, and alongside him we're going to go with Asamoah, pretty much the standard centre-mid partnership. Asamoah, very, very good defensively, this guy, but of course great vision and passing as well. And so far, he's not the greatest start to his time at the club. He has also been cut from the Ghanaian national team, but hopefully he can find his form, and I do really want to persist with him because he just is a terrific player, at least on paper. Anyway, Minky going to play out on the right. Jonathan Chan, who picked up that hat-trick, going to play in centre attack in mid. Kusongo out on the left, and Silla out on the kind of striker position. On the bench, loads of options. Cameron Bowman, the Australian, continuing to improve this guy. Really excited to see what he can achieve. He's only 19 years old, scoring goals for fun at national level as well. Other options, we've got Jamie Price, the Welshman, very, very good attacker indeed. And elsewhere, we've got a few other players like Tomohisa Kato, David Gums, Sean Mulhall, a few players, who are fairly familiar names who, of course, were playing for us last season. But anyway, let's see how we get on in this game. I want to play on the front foot. I want to play attacking. Chelsea, as I identified, they've struggled against the likes of Brighton and West Brom. There is a chance that in this game we can really take it to them. And I'm hoping that we can have a good performance here. If we just have a quick look at the Chelsea team, I don't know how many players they have who we recognise. Andreas Christiansen I recognise, Kenny Tete, again another player I recognise, Asensio, very good player, Christian Pusilic, very good player, Courtois in goal, of course. It's a good team, few regens in there as well. They're going to be tricky, Chelsea, they're a team who have very much remained in the top 4 on this save. They've not really dropped out of it, and while we need to defend well here, set piece not dealt with, and the free kick eventually finds its way in. Njoku with the goal. And the free kick was blocked by the wall. It ping-ponged around at the edge of the area, and then, the ball emerged from nowhere really with some venom towards our goal, and unfortunately, the keeper was unable to get down to that. And Chelsea, they strike first very, very early on in this game. Of course, going into this game, perhaps our form a cause for concern, despite some tricky fixtures. To lose 3 games on the row and potentially 4 if we were, of course, to lose here, that would be, I think, cause for concern. As much as I want to play it off as we're playing tricky teams, we need to be trying to get something from these games. In terms of our goal for this season, it's not really something I've identified as of yet. I'd like to aim for a top half finish and maybe even an outside chance at European football. Certainly I want an improvement on last year, and I think a top half finish with the money that we've spent and the players that we have is more than attainable. But if we want to, push on that a little bit further, and as I said, kind of push for Europe, this is the kind of game where we do need to try and get something from it, particularly at home. So, let's see if we can defend any better here. Christiansen with the ball once more, bringing it forward. In the end, nice little tackle by Hamdi, but again, Chelsea still with the ball here in a pretty dangerous and threatening position. And we are struggling to win it off them. And Njoku, the goal scorer, plays with Pusilic, the American. And while Mannion, what a stop by the goalkeeper there, tips it wide of the post. Lovely little fingertip save, although the danger, it might not be over here yet. Although Mannion, he collects that corner very, very well indeed. He's looking pretty good in goal. Of course, the goalkeeper who was linked with this kind of Chelsea side as a potential transfer over the summer, kind of proving to them perhaps what they were missing out on. Of course, a player who, let's be honest, he would have only ever been kind of second choice to Courtois. At the same time, he wanted this move, and perhaps he's trying to prove his worth to our team and prove that, well, Chelsea should perhaps continue to track him as a player in this game. Anyway, Njoku scored 1 goal already. He's bringing it forward once more. Asamoah, lovely tackle there. Unfortunately, the big ball over the top doesn't quite find its way through. And we are on the back foot once more. Pusilic this time does take it around Mannion. And, well, you'd have to say this first half, Chelsea have shown kind of superior quality. Offside was appealed for by our players. I don't know if it was. Looking at it here, I mean, it looks marginal. Either way, you've got to play to the whistle. It may well have been Morelos playing his North American compatriot on side. And, well, 2-0 at half-time. It could be more, I guess, if we don't hold on. I'm going to have to look to change things, I think, and maybe go to the narrower system. I want to give Kasongo an opportunity to play down the middle. It's something we've not given him much of a chance with. Minky really hasn't had the greatest of games either, so that's further justification, really to mix things up here. And we're going to bring in Tomohisa Kato, the Japanese youngster. We're going to play him in the advanced playmaker role in the right centre mid area. You can see here a player very well suited to this role. The 20-year-old, it'd be fair to kind of assess him as a player who perhaps hasn't given his all so far in his time at the club. Looks like a terrific prospect. Won European Golden Boy last year. But the Japanese international, since he's joined us, had a few loan spells where he performed well, but since he's come back to Hereford, his performances haven't been ideal, despite me giving him, a fair bit of opportunity to really prove himself as a player. But anyway, we want to try and bounce back in the best way possible. You'd feel like even, fairly early on in this second half, if Chelsea were to get the next goal, it would probably be game over here. But, well, we're trying to make something happen, bringing it forward. But that direct play just not playing off for us. And unfortunately, Njoku bringing the ball forward. Nice tackle, though. Now can Silla get there? He can't. But Jonathan Chanta Kasongo, can he make something happen? He can't. He's dispossessed. It's a massive ball up the field, and it's Boga through. A very, very rapid player indeed, Jeremy Boga. And, well, he scores, of course, a Chelsea youngster in real life. And, well, from being on the attack to suddenly being on the back foot, this time it was actually Wood kind of caught a little bit out of position. The ball, I guess, a difficult one for him to read and anticipate, but it found its way through. And Chelsea, they've exposed us once more. And, well, with performances like this, the dream, I guess, of a top half finish feels a little way off, doesn't it? Certainly, 4 defeats in a row now. It's going to be a big test of character in terms of can we bounce back. And, well, this is going to take us to 4 wins and 3 losses in our opening 7 league games of the season, which is not bad by any standards. But given our recent form, we are going to have to look with perhaps a few easier games coming up to really change things here. Anyway, I guess any changes I make now are pretty inconsequential. So we'll bring on a few youngsters. We'll bring on Marku, who actually isn't a youngster, but Cameron Bowman, the Australian. Let's give him an opportunity to shine. Can he kind of carry the spirit of Paul Smith, of course, the Australian winger of Gibraltar, on our save last year? Unfortunately, Silla's picked up an injury. I'm going to take him off. Not much point in risking him. Looks like it's a strained wrist, although now Marku's picked up a twisted knee potentially, which isn't ideal. And now Bowman's picked up an injury. So basically, everyone we've brought on has picked up injuries, which is great, isn't it? So we're going to be down to, what, 9 men, maybe 10 men if I wanted to take off another man. I guess, have to hope at this point that those injuries aren't too kind of serious. 3 injuries in the last kind of 10 minutes of the game. Very much less than ideal, I guess, would be the fairest way to assess that. As I said, hopefully they're not serious, because players like Bowman, really looking to see him develop this year, the Australian. Obviously, giving him a chance in this kind of game with not a lot left on the line to try and develop him, and, well, it might have backfired with an injury. Marku's going to be out for 12 days to 2 weeks. Silla's going to be out with a sprained wrist, although we can play him through injury with some protective equipment. And it actually seems like the injury to Bowman is nothing to worry about. So that's a little bit of a relief there. But unfortunately, Michaelis Marku, suffering from injury there, the Cypriot. and going to be out for 2 weeks, which is a little bit of a shame. Anyway, as I mentioned, our games are going to kind of get easier from here. We've got Brighton, who are in 14th, Watford in 18th. We follow up with a game against West Brom, who are struggling, before taking on Spurs, who are underperforming as of late. And then a few more easier games. I think the next game we'll be back for will be that match against Manchester City away from home. It's actually going to be in just over 2 months' time, but in that time there's only going to be kind of 7 matches played. You know, I want to kind of fairly quickly, I want to say, power through this season. That's not to say I want to, you know, skip through it like it has no consequence. But in reality, you know, if mid-table is going to be where we're looking to finish this year, in reality, I want to get through the season quickly. You guys like to see progress, I'm sure. And yeah, that Man City game, that could be a game, you know, depending on how things go, that has some fairly big significance in terms of our aspirations for the season. But anyway, guys, that is going to be all from me. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have enjoyed, please do leave a like on the video. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.